You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy. We watch a thing. We watch a thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to We Watched a Thing with Billy and Dave. How you doing, mate?
I'm very good. Feels
That's
like a while
good.
since we've spoken.
It does. But this is actually going to be a fun one. I'm curious to talk about this because we're back with the Marvel Cinematic Universe talking about Thunderbolts Asterix, as it is titled.
I waited that whole movie and there wasn't a small French guy with horns on his...
A 2025 American superhero film based on Marvel Comics featuring the team Thunderbolts. It is the 36th film in the MCU.
Jesus wept.
Directed by Jake Schreier from a screenplay by Eric Pearson and Joanna Carlo, and stars a pretty big cast: Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, Olga Kurylenko, Lewis Pullman, who else here is important? David Harbour and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And what is it about, mate?
And Geraldine.
And Geraldine. Yeah.
We love her. It is ostensibly about the Thunderbolts group from Marvel Comics, of which there have been about 13 different iterations over the years.
Oh, I mean, same as the Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't directly relate to any of them, although it's kind of close to the 12th iteration. But it's basically this is Disney doing its Disney, the most it's ever Disneyed. You need to have watched about 10 of their properties to really know all of these characters.
Yeah, but you know what I will say?
Anything else, but I'm not saying that as a knock. I mean, it's a knock against Disney because their business model is terribly predatory and horrible. But the film works whether you know these characters or not.
That's what I was going to say.
To about 80%.
No, I was going to say, this is the first MCU film in, I reckon, 5 or 6 years where it doesn't matter if you haven't seen a single film before it.
It doesn't matter, but I think the more of them you've seen, because this is quite a character-heavy film in a good way. I think the writing is very good. I think all the characters get their dues, and there's quite a lot of pathos and dramatic heft to this, more so than in probably anything since the last two Avengers films. And I think it all works if you've seen nothing, because from memory you've seen probably almost none of the precursor things. You haven't watched Hawkeye, have you?
No, God, no. I've seen
Falcon
Black
and the Winter Soldier.
No, I've seen Black Widow, so obviously I knew Yelena and
Taskmistress. Although she gets rather shortchanged and fridged early on.
Oh, well, actually, I forgot who she was. Yeah.
Okay.
and it didn't bother me. So basically, David Harbour and Florence Pugh were the only characters I knew. I had no idea who the faux Captain America was. I had no idea who...
You wouldn't have known who
Valentia. No clue.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
No clue who she was. No.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine or whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah.
So she was in the with Yelena at the end of...
This is the first film
Hawkeye
in ages, though, that it hasn't bothered me at all, where I was able to completely keep up. And in fact, I'm going to do this. Big Dizzle's Big Call. This is easily, without a shadow of a doubt, the best Marvel film since Infinity War, and is probably in the top 3 Marvel movies overall. Wow. This is a really, really, really good movie, and it's the first one in so long that is not just... Yeah, it just... I really, really love this movie.
I'm not agreeing with the top 3. Probably one of... I mean, not probably. It is one of the best since Infinity War. Whether I think it's the best since then, maybe. And I think it's... One, I think having 2 writers is obviously a much better thing than having 9 or 10 like I normally do. It's very cohesive. It draws on all of those kind of precursor properties evenly, nicely, consistently. Considering I don't even know this guy's name. Did you check? Has he done any other Marvel stuff? Where's the director come from?
The director is, as I said, Jake Schreier.
Who I've never heard of.
No, Thunderbolts is his first Marvel property. In fact, this is only his third film, and it's the first one he's directed in 10 years.
What else?
He directed Robot and Frank and Paper Towns.
Oh, Paper Towns I liked.
Yeah, he has not directed anything
Although
since
I hadn't
then.
read the book. People who read the book I don't think liked
Yeah,
it.
but he's been doing a bit of television from the looks of it.
Okay.
It doesn't say what role he had, whether it was writing or directing, but he's credited for Shameless, Dave, The Premise, Beef, 6 episodes of, an episode of Skeleton Crew. So, yeah, interesting filmography. But this, I loved this movie.
I think he's, especially considering that rather limited pedigree.
Yeah.
Not that it's not largely stuff of quality. Most of those names that I know are all good quality things. But nothing in there would suggest that he's the guy you would tap on the shoulder to jump into.
See, but that's exactly why this works, because this is not, for the most part, this isn't like a huge action movie. As you said, this is very much a character piece. And even what makes this movie work is that even the action segments very much revolve around the characters. Yep. So I saw this film just today, and I saw it in IMAX, actually.
Bastard.
And I was like, it's on. I only did it because that was the time that worked for me. But this is a really, really well shot, really well directed film. And I was happy to have seen it that way. But unlike most Marvel films, what they've, kind of devolved into, where the final act is just fighting a giant beam shooting up into the sky, even when you get to the kind of final set piece of this film, it's a really emotional, very character-driven segment.
Well, it's not a fight.
No.
The final culmination set piece in this is kind of talking a guy down off a ledge.
100%.
With CGI shit around him, but this to me is, and I'm surprised that this is getting as well reviewed as it is, because it's kind of not, the ending is not what your MCU fanboys are expecting. There is no Skybeam. There is no giant fight with a big bad. The big bad ends up being a nice guy, and it's more of a psychological journey. It ends more like Shrinking than it does Infinity War.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But it did remind me very much of the couple of other times when Marvel has got a quote-unquote director in.
Like Eternals.
I was exactly the one I was going to, which fucking almost no one apart from us likes.
Yes.
And possibly for that reason, because there's a lot more focus on the character. And a lot
whereas
less on
this one seems to have really struck the balance, where it's a very well-made, at times poignant film with things to say, but I think due to... See, Eternals was too large in scope. That's the difference. Eternals, you're kind of following like 13 characters. You haven't had a lot of introduction to them before. This, you've got a really tight, 5 or 6 core characters that you're following. And they all have quite a strong emotional arc. You care about all of them. There's a lot of chemistry between them, and there's a lot of humor injected in the film, which kind of harkens back to, this is, in some ways, is closer to Guardians of the Galaxy than it is anything else that Marvel have done. So it's almost Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad in some ways.
Very much. I mean, literally, it is.
But they've made it work without the gore and without the language.
Yeah, it doesn't have the James Gunn-ness. It's a lot
softer.
Well, I was going to say a lot more serious in tone. Although, I mean, you've obviously got David Harbour in particular providing most of the comic relief.
Yes,
and if anything, he hasn't quite crossed the line, but he's almost getting to the point where he's almost becoming a parody of his own character. Mm-hmm. In kind of the same way that Korg did in the second Taika Waititi Thor films. What were funny kind of lines? It's like it's almost tipped, not quite, but almost. I reckon if there's another movie, I think, unless they rein him back in,
I think it's saved by having an emotional arc to it as well.
Yelena is less funny in this, and I think that balances it because they're obviously a close knit pair within
and they have their own kind of emotional arc, like towards the end, where he, and throughout the whole movie, really, he's kind of pushing her to like join a team, and so I think that saves him from reaching that point where he's just a caricature. I agree. If we had a film of just him on his own, it would be way too much, and it wouldn't work.
It's almost like the way those two characters are coping with Black Widow's death are polar opposites. He's kind of ignoring it completely and pretending almost that it didn't happen, and being larger than life and ebullient and much more comedic, whereas she's gone from being the kind of wisecracking, cynical version of Black Widow that she was in Hawkeye and in Black Widow. And in Black Widow, she and Harbour were kind of the same level. They were both sort of the comic relief in that film to a point at equal levels, whereas now she's obviously completely lost after Natasha's death. He's not acknowledging it at all, and gone bigger than ever.
Yeah, and this is the Thunderbolts. It's a group movie, but Yelena is the lead in this film.
Yep.
So that's, I think, why she has to be less of the comic relief, because she's carrying the majority of the story forward in this film.
And she is kind of the emotional heart when you get to that big set piece at the end with Sentry.
Yeah, he's also great, and his character adds a lot to this film, Bob.
What do I know? I meant to have a look when I got out of the movie. I can't remember what I know Lewis Pullman from. I've seen him in other stuff. Oh, very familiar face, and I couldn't think what it was. Top Gun Maverick, no. Bad Times at the El Royale, good film, but that's not what I'm thinking of. Oh, Lessons in Chemistry, that's what it was. I knew it would be something I'd seen recently, though. Weirdly, the Captain Marvel, the Brie Larson, excellent miniseries if anyone hasn't seen it. That's what he looked familiar from. I'm assuming that Taskmaster is coming back. It seems almost pointless to have included Olga and paid her salary for 3 seconds on screen, that. Really.
I liked that because I thought it was a ballsy move, regardless of anything else. And, it was funny. I hadn't actually seen a trailer for this. I hadn't seen a poster for this. Because I saw it in IMAX, at the end, they were handing out posters to everyone. They were like, because you saw it in IMAX today, here's a free poster. And I was like, okay. And she's on the poster with the rest of them, like she's in the group. And I'm like, that's fucking great.
It's ready. I mean, from a film point of view, yes, I like it. It's
I hope she doesn't
unexpected.
come back.
I think she will. Because I think it's...
I mean, how is she going to come back? Not only was she killed, then she was left in the incinerator.
Hey, she got blown up in a building in Black Widow and she came back from that. Seemingly indestructible. I like Wyatt Russell, who, probably through no fault of his own, but was insufferable in the god-awful Falcon and the Winter Soldier miniseries. Which was, that was one of the worst things Marvel's ever done for a myriad of, there were reasons related to the production stuff, but the writing was terrible. They shortchanged Sharon Carter horrendously and made me hate it even more. But his character, US agent in that, he's not meant to be the good guy, but he was so insufferable it almost made the show unwatchable.
Yeah, right.
The writing's obviously better in this, but I liked his character in this. He's a little bit insufferable, but in the way that he's meant to be, not in a bad writing sort of a way.
Yeah, I liked all of them. And again, having not seen Falcon and Winter Soldier or whatever it's called, it didn't bother me that I had no idea who that guy was, because unlike most Marvel movies these days, his character was clearly explained.
Oh, they explained it.
But it didn't feel like exposition. It was, everything was actually really well written, really well directed in this film.
The flashbacks weren't over the top. They were short, and they added, even for people who had seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they added to, because it was stuff that had come after the events of that. But the events of that were covered off without exposition, really.
Yeah,
It
and
just
it made sense
throwaway lines like,
character-wise.
I was the real Captain America. Yeah, for like 3 seconds,
Yeah.
until you killed someone on national news. Okay, boom. There's your, you don't
Yeah.
need a 10-minute dump.
Exactly. And it all made sense character-wise because it's not like they were just flashing back for no reason. The explanation was well and truly there. Like it was being brought on by Bob, by Sentry, by his powers in some way that he's able to manifest people's biggest shames and so it was I thought it was really well done.
And I liked probably wouldn't have been picked up on by many, but Geraldine Viswanathan, who I've liked in everything since what was it? Not Booksmart. Was it Blockers? I think it was Blockers.
Oh yeah.
And then did you watch Miracle Workers at all? The Daniel Radcliffe
No, I've been meaning to get to it.
So good.
There's just so much to watch these days, Dave. I was in bed with tonsillitis last week, and I started watching Survivor, which
look,
never seen.
Waste of time, but could have been watching better stuff. But I was impressed
There's
that it
48
wasn't just Property Brothers.
There's 48 seasons to get through.
You could have just gone with like Supernatural or something that's under 20 seasons. You didn't need to go all the way to 50 years worth of god awful American reality TV.
No, it's good, Dave. It's interesting. It's fascinating. But, off topic, but I need to let you know this. And I know that you're going to, scrunch your nose up at this because you're going to say you don't like this guy. Nathan Fielder. But season 2 of The Rehearsal, I don't know if...
Is
did
that
you
the
watch
Emma Stone
season
thing?
1? No. That's The Curse.
Oh.
The Rehearsal is a brilliant and wild show where the concept is that basically HBO have given him a magic wallet that just never runs out of money. I don't know how he convinced them to do it, to create a comedy show. But the concept of the show is that he helps people rehearse things in like an extremely realistic way. So there's almost no way to describe it without spoiling it. I think season 1 is going to be a bit too far for you and I would skip it. But I really think you should watch the first 3 episodes of season 2 because it is, honest to God, the greatest thing that's ever been televised. It is absolutely wild. It's really poignant in a way. The concept of this is that he's been researching plane crashes and he wants to do something to help. And there was a study done that basically said that what's causing a lot of plane crashes is the communication breakdown between the pilot and the co-pilot. And like 15 years ago, the head of the FAA suggested they do role playing to kind of work out how to communicate. And he's like, well, look, I've got a lot of experience in creating really realistic role plays, and I've got basically infinite money. So he builds a replica of an airport. Like there's no way to describe it, but you have to watch it. I know I've gone well off the rails here, but if anyone here is not watching The Rehearsal, go fucking watch it. It's wild.
Where do you find this?
I mean,
it's probably terrible show with a terrible person in it. But
it's not terrible, Dave.
What's it on?
I believe it's on HBO Max.
Oh God, it's another thing that they're trying to get me to subscribe to. I think.
But what I will tell you, which you can cut out, is
I can't fucking watch season 2 because now HBO Max has launched and that it's no longer on the things that I actually pay for because they've all lost the rights to shit.
I don't know.
Some things on HBO Max that I can't fucking watch season something of.
But please, can you promise me that you'll watch
it? I promise. Before I see you next week, I will have watched
the first 3 episodes.
I didn't say that. I said I will have watched at least one.
I need you to watch the first 3 because the third one in particular is... There's no describing it. Anyone who's seen it will know what I'm talking about.
Episode 3.
Oh no! You got it. It's an arc. It's a real journey this season.
Back to
Thunderbolts, though.
You derailed me. I was saying, yes, Geraldine, who we love.
Yes, that's what we were talking about.
Yes, I think she's just referred to as Mel in this, but
the assistant of Valentina.
Yeah, she does have a little bird necklace and Melissa is the first name of Songbird in the comics, who was in Thunderbolts.
Do you think that's an Easter egg, or do you think that they're leading to something?
I don't think they're trying to hide it. I think, but whether or not they've just put a character, and they're not going to do anything with that, because they have done that before, where they've just, here's a name you know from the comics, but we're not actually going to give them powers or turn them into it. But I'm assuming you don't cast a name, without an intention. Which
I don't know. She had a pretty good arc in this film. Like, she's quite present in the movie. It's not like she's a real side character.
Yeah, I don't know that they would have bothered to do this because it's the sort of Easter egg that would annoy people, because people who recognise it are going to assume it's going to lead to something and will be pissed off if it doesn't.
Yeah.
And no one else would have picked up on it. So it seems, not that Marvel haven't done pointless, stupid things with their writing before, but the rest of this film, I think, is so well crafted. It would surprise me if she didn't end up. It gives them somewhere to go other than just bringing back Taskmaster, which I think they'll also do.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing that I will say, is that this is the first Marvel movie in a long, long time that has actually had me excited to see what happens next. Mm-hmm. And the most miraculous thing about that is that this movie doesn't feel like a setup. Like, this movie doesn't feel like it's purely there to bridge to something else, or for a post-credit scene that leads to something else. It feels like it has a right to exist, and yet it's the first one in forever that has actually got me excited to see what happens next. Like, is this team actually going to be the new Avengers? How is that going to play out? Like,
Look, I'll be both Dave and Sam Hurley for the sake of this, because I'm sure Sam would say the same thing. So if you've come this far and you haven't seen it and you don't want the post-credits spoiled, maybe tune out for the next few minutes. But the asterisk in the title does get revealed, because right at the end they get named as the New Avengers, and Thunderbolts gets erased off the screen. New Avengers comes up. Now, in the comics, the Thunderbolts do that particular iteration, which it's like the 11th or 12th. It's certainly not the original, which was just a supervillains group.
Like the Sinister Six, basically.
Yeah. It was created by Baron Zemo, if memory serves. So maybe we'll get Daniel Brown back. But one of the latter versions did become the Dark Avengers, not the New Avengers, the Dark Avengers. Assuming that the New Avengers that they are now, because they mentioned that Captain Sam has copyrighted the name Avengers, and they're going to have all sorts of legal troubles using it. I'm assuming that that's where this next little bit of the story is going to go, whether it's in a Thunderbolts 2 or if it's going to be in, I don't know if there's another Captain America down the track or whatever it's going to be, that clash between... much as they did with, they had East and West Coast Avengers for a time, but I think you're going to have conflicting teams, and that I'm quite excited to see what they do with that.
Same. I mean, I'm super keen for Fantastic Four as well. I can't wait for that.
That was a nice little Easter egg or post credits drop as well. Yeah,
and I love the vibe and the look of that. I have seen a trailer for that one. I'm super keen to see that one.
The last time I was this excited about the look and feel of a Marvel property was WandaVision. Maybe the first 20 minutes of episode 1 of Loki. Before I think that show didn't quite live up to the look of it. But WandaVision, right up until probably the last 1.5 episodes, where you kind of left the fantasy world. But before that was the smartest, most original thing Marvel had done since the start of the MCU. Yeah. And this kind of feels like you've got that kind of 50s futuristic Jetsons, that kind of
retro futurism.
Yeah.
Super keen for it.
So very much looking forward. So where are we going with the MCU next?
I think that's the next one. That's June or...
Yeah, we've got Fantastic Four, but there's nothing else this year, is there?
Let's have a look.
Because all of the rest of the things like Blade are all kind of got big question marks over them now.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those are actually still happening. Okay, it looks like they've scrapped Blade and everything. According to Wikipedia, which
carved in stone.
Don't know how accurate it is.
Probably will never change. Once it's on Wikipedia, they're not allowed to change their minds.
Well, no, but the nice thing about Wikipedia is that it is updated fairly constantly. So, according to Wikipedia, after Fantastic Four, which is the first film in Phase 6, apparently, Thunderbolts is the last film of Phase 5. That makes sense. Phase 6 begins with Fantastic Four, followed by Avengers Doomsday in 2026.
Oh, it's literally straight into Doomsday.
Spider-Man Brand New Day in 2026, and will conclude with Avengers Secret Wars in 2027. So they're claiming that Phase 6 is only the 4 films.
It's not like the phase is going to be 2 Avengers films and Spider-Man. There'll be other shit they haven't announced.
Who knows, though? Maybe they've learned their lesson and they're trying to
but you can't
narrow it down.
Unless there's a shitload of story in Fantastic Four.
I don't know. I've heard it's pretty long. I've heard Fantastic Four is going to be like 2.5 hours.
That's going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do to get us all the way to Doctor Doom.
Yeah, guess we'll see.
We had, 7 or 8 films that teased Thanos before he turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. I was not feeling good about the whole Doctor Doom thing. I thought the RDJ stunt casting, I thought was a shit idea, and I didn't like it. But since we've got a decent look at Fantastic Four, and now with this film, I'm kind of back on board with the MCU tentatively. I'm cautiously optimistic about this phase.
I can confirm that Phase 6 is only the 4 films: Fantastic Four, Doomsday, Spider-Man, and Secret Wars.
Damn,
however, there are also there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 TV shows.
There you go,
the
Disney Plus pimping itself like a whore.
Eyes of Wakanda.
I'm so over
Marvel Zombies and Wonder Man, all 3 of which come out this year.
They feel like they're going to be novelty standalone things that aren't
Daredevil
relating
Born
to the
Again, season 2.
That's going to become more and more in sort of linked with the MCU.
Vision
obviously.
Quest and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
That will be animated, I think.
I think
probably
it is,
season 2 of. Did you watch the first season of the animated?
No, I did not.
Oh fuck! It's really good.
Yeah,
really
nice. Good. Okay.
Yeah, old school. It's got this old sort of Kirby look to it.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
It's really it's an alternate version. It's not in this universe. You don't have any MJs or Gwen Stacy's. He's got Nico Minoru from, what were they called? The teen group, Runaways. So it's unrelated in that sense. Doctor Strange pops up, but it's comic Doctor Strange. It doesn't really look like Cumberbatch, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, nice. Well, so all in all, honestly, this film, I'm stuck between a 7 and an 8. I think I'm landing on an 8.
I'm comfortably on an 8. I think it's really, really solid. It's a big recommend. And it's it's up there, if not slightly above the films from Phase 4 that I thought were genuinely good, like Black Widow and Eternals. Certainly better than all the rest of that phase.
Yeah.
With some of the TV stuff was far stronger than the cinematic stuff in Phase 4. But this is right up there and highly recommended.
There you go. Strong recommend from us. Honestly, if you have an IMAX near you or something, go check it out there because it looked great on IMAX.
Yeah, I'm annoyed they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I took all the kids 2 of the 3 kids, and IMAX is too expensive to take other people to.
It's a bit ridiculous.
I'm saving that for when I go to like Mission Impossible and stuff.
Nice. All right. Well, next week we're getting our spook on, I guess, because we've got a bunch of horror movies to talk about. We're finally going to talk about Sinners and Drop, and I've also got a couple of others that I've seen lately, Clown in a Cornfield and Until Dawn. So
I was looking forward to it Until Dawn, but I don't think I'm going to get to it.
Well, I'll tell you how it is next week.
Yeah, you can spoil it all for me.
But in the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at pottymouthradio.com or pottymouthradio@gmail.com. Go check out the Facebook listener community. You can find us on Patreon, where you can get full bonus videos of all the recordings and whatnot.
Yep.
And
Bonus
series.
shows.
Yep.
We will be recording back to
Yes.
back. This is how much we suffer for our patrons. Back to back episodes of Shyamalanigans, where we're going to be talking about Cinematic Gold, The Happening, and The Last Airbender.
We're well into the trough in terms of Shyamalan's
Oh,
filmography.
yep.
Yeah, we're at the bottom of the bell curve, so...
Yeah, well, you say bell curve like it comes up again at some point.
It does, it does.
Fucking oath it doesn't.
All right, and we'll catch you next week.
Cheerio.